Okay, it's December and it's getting close to Christmas, and I want to do something a little special. This can be used at any time of the year, not just Christmas, but I'm in the holiday spirit and wanting to do something a little bit extra fun. So, over the next few days, next 12 days, I will be posting one fluid painting tip a day. You can follow along with this series by watching each one, and hopefully, there'll be short, quick tips that will help you improve your practice. In some ways, fluid painting is the perfect art form for those of us who are impatient and want cool art now. In other ways, it's not the best. And the best example I see of this is in people's impatience when mixing up their different additives, water, pouring medium, that type of thing. I commonly see two mixing mistakes made by people who come to my classes. The first is they only mix the top layer, so they're not really getting down into the bottom of the paint, so they actually have paint at multiple consistencies through their container. But the second is even though I provide pipettes and recommend mixing slowly, they are too hasty and they add way too much water. Let me show you why that's not a good idea. I demonstrate this here 3 different times. In the first one, I add about 1/2 to 3/4 of a pipette of water into this paint slowly, and as I do, it slowly incorporates. The paint is nice and smooth, it's evenly mixed. I also know when I get to the consistency that I want when it actually happens instead of after. Again, this is the one I mix slowly. See how smooth the paint is on that tongue depressor. It's fully incorporated. It's all a consistent consistency, and it's well mixed. It's also at the right consistency to what I want. In the second, I went ahead and added the same amount of water to the same amount of paint, but I added all the water at once. And as you can see, when you do that, the paint separates from the water. It does mix a bit, but at the bottom you're left with these chunks, and they're really hard to get mixed back in. So by doing this, you're basically left with a top layer of pigmented water and then chunky, unmixed paint at the bottom of your container. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I'll add it slowly, but I'll just add it from the cup. And that's where I really caution you to get something like pipettes. The ones I use, you can get a pack of like 100 of them for $10, and you can reuse them over and over and over again. And it's because your pouring is not as accurate as you think. So you might intend on adding little bits of water from the cup, but you're not going to be very accurate or as accurate as you think you're going to be. So you're going to end up accidentally adding way too much water, even when you try to do just a little drop or two, and you're going to go past the point of no return, essentially, as well as end up with unmixed paint. I have a bonus tip for the impatient coming up, but real quick, let's review. So here's what it looks like when we mix slowly. Here's what it looks like when we mix it, we add all of the water in with a pipette, or we try to drop it in. So mix it up slowly, methodically. Maybe treat this as an activity in itself. Convinced but still too impatient, get yourself a latte milk foamer or something like this. You can quickly zip this up. Make sure you hold on to the cup while you're mixing, otherwise it's going to fling paint everywhere. And you can add more water at any one time or more of the additives because it's going to fully incorporate this as long as you fully put it down in that cup, but you don't want to add all of it because you do still want to monitor the general consistency that you're getting. The other thing to note is that this will introduce a bunch of air bubbles into the paint, so you might want to treat this as a night before activity before you're going to pour, so that you can mix everything up, put it in a sealed container, and the air bubbles will dissipate. Thank you so much for coming to day 1 of these 12 days of pouring tips and tricks. I hope to see you on day 2. If you enjoyed this or tried it, let me know in the comments. You can also share some of your artwork with me through my Instagram at Rebel Unicorn Crafts, or if you're interested in buying any of my art, that's not necessarily fluid painting related, you can visit my Etsy shop at Lacey Walker Art. Have a magically creative day.